"You're not welcome here anymore, Mom." Those words didn't come with shouting. They didn't come with anger. They came quietly from my own son. I remember standing there, my small suitcase beside my feet, my hands trembling slightly as I held the doorframe. I smiled at him. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I just nodded as if he had said something ordinary, something easy. Inside, something broke. I had raised this boy. I had carried him through sickness, hunger, and fear. I had stayed awake at night, listening to his breathing, praying nothing bad would ever touch him. And now he was telling me I didn't belong in his home. But what he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I had a secret of my own. A secret I had kept quietly for years, not to hurt anyone, not to take revenge, but because I never thought I would need it. As I walked away from that house, the sound of the door closing behind me echoed in my chest. The hallway felt cold, the walls felt unfamiliar, and yet my steps were steady. I told myself one thing as I reached the street. Stay calm, stay kind, stay quiet. Sometimes the strongest people don't fight back right away. Sometimes they wait. And that day, I waited. My name is Margaret. I am 68 years old. I was never a loud woman. I was never the type to demand attention or ask for praise. I believed love spoke through actions, through meals cooked, clothes washed, bills paid quietly on time. My son, Daniel, was my only child. After my husband passed away, it was just the two of us. Life became smaller, quieter, but also closer. I worked long hours cleaning offices and caring for elderly neighbors just to make sure Daniel never felt the weight of our struggles. When he got married, I was happy for him, truly happy. His wife, Emily, was polite at first, distant but polite. I told myself that was normal. Not every daughter-in-law shows love the same way. When they asked me to move in temporarily, I hesitated. "I don't want to be a burden," I said softly. Daniel laughed. "Mom, don't be silly. You're family." So I came. At first, I stayed quiet. I cleaned without being asked. I cooked when Emily was tired. I watched their children when they needed help. I took up as little space as possible, like a guest who overstayed but hoped no one noticed. Slowly, things changed. Emily stopped thanking me. Daniel stopped looking at me when I spoke. Small comments began to slip into conversations. "Mom, you don't need to sit there. Mom, that's not how we do things here. Mom, maybe you should stay in your room." I told myself not to overthink it. I told myself I was imagining it. Until one evening, Daniel stood in front of me, his arms crossed, his voice calm but firm. "You're not welcome here anymore, Mom." He said it like a decision had already been made. I didn't ask why, because deep down, I already knew. And still, he didn't know my secret. After Daniel told me I was not welcome, I didn't leave that night. Not because I refused, not because I wanted to argue, but because it was already dark outside, and because for the first time in my life, I didn't know where to go. So I stayed in my small room. I folded my clothes carefully, even the ones I knew I might never wear again in that house. I sat on the edge of the bed and listened. I listened to the sounds of the home I had helped build, the clinking of dishes, the television playing softly, the sound of laughter that did not include me. No one came to check on me. That hurt more than the words themselves. The next morning, I woke early, as I always did. Habit is a hard thing to break. I made my bed neatly, smoothed the blanket, and sat quietly, waiting. Eventually, Daniel knocked on the door. "Mom," he said without meeting my eyes, "Emily thinks it's best if you leave today." "Emily thinks." I nodded slowly. "Of course," I said. "I'll be ready." He looked relieved. That expression stayed with me longer than anything else. I packed my suitcase. It wasn't heavy. When you live quietly, you don't collect many things, mostly memories, and memories don't weigh much until you carry them in your heart. As I walked through the living room, Emily stood near the kitchen counter. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't look at me. She wiped the counter slowly, as if I wasn't there. Daniel walked me to the door. "I'll call you," he said. I smiled gently. "You always say that." He shifted uncomfortably. "Take care, Mom." The door closed behind me, and just like that, I was outside. I stayed with a friend for a while, a woman I once helped when her husband was sick. She welcomed me without questions. She made tea, she listened. But I could tell I was a guest. I didn't want to stay long, so after a few days I found a small room to rent. Just one window, a narrow bed, a small table. It was enough. I told myself I was fine. I told myself I was strong. But at night, when the room was quiet, the memories came. Daniel as a little boy holding my hand, Daniel crying after his first heartbreak, Daniel promising me, "I'll always take care of you, Mom." I wondered when that promise had faded. Weeks passed. Daniel didn't call. Emily didn't message. Not once did they ask if I was okay. And that's when something inside me changed, not into anger, not into bitterness, into clarity. I stopped waiting. One afternoon, I ran into Daniel at the grocery store. He looked surprised to see me, then uncomfortable. "Mom," he said, "are you okay?" I nodded. "I am." He glanced around. "Where are you staying?" "Nearby," I said simply. He hesitated. "You know, things were stressful at home." "I know," I replied calmly. He waited for me to say more. I didn't. He didn't ask me to come back, and that told me everything. Over the next few months, I watched from a distance, not in secret, not in fear, just quietly. I noticed something. Daniel started calling more often, not to check on me, but to ask questions. "Mom, do you still have the old documents?" "Mom, do you remember where Dad kept his papers?" "Mom, did you ever change anything after he passed?" Each question felt careful, measured. I answered gently, vaguely. "I'll have to check," I said. "I'm not sure," I said. "Let me think about it," I said. For the first time, I held something back, and it unsettled him. Emily began calling too. Her tone had changed, softer, kinder, almost forced. "Mom, we miss you," she said once. I smiled to myself. "Do you?" I asked gently. She laughed nervously. "Of course." "Then why did I feel invisible in your home?" I asked calmly. Silence. "I didn't mean," she began. "It's all right," I said. "I'm just asking." She didn't call again for a while. That's when I knew they were worried, not about me, about something else. And that something else was my secret. You see, years ago, after my husband passed, I made a decision, not because I didn't trust my son, not because I feared my future, but because life teaches you that security matters. I had sold our old home quietly. I had invested carefully. I had saved more than anyone realized, and I had written things down, everything. I never told Daniel, not because I wanted power, but because I never imagined needing it. Until now. One evening, Daniel called again. "Mom," he said, trying to sound casual, "Emily and I are thinking about moving." "Oh," I replied. "Yes, and we're just sorting finances." I waited. "Well," he continued, "we thought maybe you could help us understand, family assets." There it was. I took a slow breath. "Daniel," I said softly, "do you remember the day you told me I was not welcome?" He was quiet. "I remember," he finally said.
"So do I replied, "and that day changed something." His voice tightened. "What do you mean?" I said calmly, "I stopped assuming my place in your life was secure." Another silence. Then he said, almost pleading, "Mom, we didn't mean to hurt you." "I know," I said, "but you did." After that call, I knew the moment was coming, the moment when the secret would no longer stay hidden, not because I wanted revenge, but because truth deserves daylight and dignity deserves space.
The call came on a quiet Sunday afternoon. I was sitting by the window in my small room, folding laundry slowly, carefully, the way I always did. Outside, the sky was gray, not sad, just thoughtful, the kind of day that invites memories to sit beside you. My phone rang. I knew it was Daniel before I even looked. I answered calmly. "Hello, Daniel." "Mom," he said. His voice was different this time, not distant, not rushed, careful. "Emily and I were hoping we could talk in person." I paused. "Of course," I said. "When?" "Today, if that's okay?" I looked around my small room, at the simple bed, the narrow table, the quiet life I had rebuilt without them. "Yes," I said softly, "you can come." They arrived an hour later. I heard their footsteps in the hallway before the knock. Emily stood slightly behind Daniel, her hands folded in front of her, her eyes lowered. Daniel looked older than I remembered, tired. I opened the door. "Come in," I said gently. They stepped inside and looked around. I could see it in their faces, surprise. This wasn't what they had imagined. No clutter, no chaos, just quiet. We sat. No one spoke at first. Then Daniel cleared his throat. "Mom, I owe you an apology." I nodded slowly. "Go on." "We were wrong," he said. "We didn't treat you with respect. We didn't listen." Emily's voice trembled as she added, "I'm sorry too. I let frustration speak louder than kindness." I listened. I didn't interrupt. I didn't rush them. When they finished, I spoke. "I accept your apology," I said. "But apologies don't erase what was done. They only open the door to understanding." Daniel nodded. Then he said it. "Mom, we're struggling." I waited. "With the house, with money, with planning for the future," he continued. "And we realized we don't really know what plans you made, what Dad left, what you decided." There it was, the moment, the secret knocking gently, ready to step into the light. I leaned back slightly in my chair. "You remember the day you told me I wasn't welcome?" I said. Daniel lowered his head. "That day," I continued calmly, "you showed me something, not about you, but about how easily love can be pushed aside when it feels inconvenient." Emily looked up, tears in her eyes. "I never wanted power over you. I never wanted control, but I did want security, dignity." I stood slowly and walked to the small drawer near my bed. They watched silently. I pulled out a folder. Inside were documents, neatly organized, carefully labeled. "I made these plans years ago, after your father passed." Daniel looked confused. "Plans?" "I sold the old house," I said gently. "I invested carefully. I saved quietly, and I wrote a will." Emily covered her mouth. "You did this all alone?" she asked softly. I nodded. "I never told you because I trusted that love would guide our future, but when I was told I wasn't welcome, I realized something." Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. "What, Mom?" "That love without respect is fragile, and security should never depend on someone else's mood." I opened the folder. "I have enough," I continued. "Enough to live peacefully, enough to be independent,
enough to never beg for a place in anyone's home again. Daniel's hands trembled. "And what about us?" he asked quietly. I looked at him, really looked. "My support," I said slowly, "comes with conditions now." Emily inhaled sharply. "Respect," I continued, "presence, care, not because you want something, but because you remember who I am." Silence filled the room. Then Daniel nodded. "I understand. Too late, but I understand." I closed the folder gently. "This is not punishment. This is clarity." Tears rolled down Emily's cheeks. "We never meant to lose you." "You didn't lose me," I replied, "but you almost lost my trust." They stayed for a while longer. We talked, slowly, carefully, not about money, not about inheritance, about boundaries, about dignity, about the quiet strength it takes to walk away instead of begging to stay. Before they left, Daniel stood. "Mom," he said, his voice steady now, "you are always welcome with us, whenever you want." I smiled gently. "I know," I said, "but now I choose where I belong." After they left, I sat alone again, but this time the silence felt different. It felt earned. The secret was no longer heavy. It had done its work.
The days after their visit passed slowly, not heavy, not painful, just thoughtful. I noticed small things again, the way the light entered my room in the morning, the sound of the kettle boiling, the comfort of knowing I belonged to myself. Daniel called 2 days later, not to ask for anything, just to ask how I was. "How are you feeling today, Mom?" he asked. "I'm well," I said honestly. "Thank you for asking." There was a pause. "I've been thinking about everything you said," he admitted, "about respect, about choice." I smiled softly. "That's all I ever wanted, for you to think." After that, the calls became regular, short, simple, sincere. Emily began sending messages too, pictures of the garden, updates about small things, nothing forced. One afternoon, she wrote, "I made soup today. I remembered how you used to add bay leaves." I closed my eyes when I read that. Memory is a quiet bridge back to the heart. Weeks later, Daniel asked if I would come for dinner. "No pressure," he said quickly, "only if you want to." I appreciated that. "I'll come," I said, "for a short visit." When I arrived, the house felt different, not bigger, not richer, kinder. Emily greeted me at the door, not with instructions, but with warmth. "Welcome," she said softly. "We're happy you're here." Daniel pulled out a chair for me at the table, not because I needed help, but because he wanted to show care. We ate slowly, no tension, no pretending, just conversation. At one point, Daniel looked at me and said, "Mom, I didn't realize how strong you were until I almost lost you." I reached across the table and placed my hand over his. Strength doesn't shout, it steps back and waits to be seen. Emily nodded, tears shining but not falling. "I'm learning," she said. "We both are." I didn't move back in. That was important. I kept my space, my routine, my independence, but I visited, and they visited me, on my terms. The balance had changed, not because of money, not because of secrets, but because boundaries had been respected. One evening, Daniel said something I never expected to hear. "Mom, thank you for not breaking when we pushed you away." I smiled. "Sometimes," I said, "walking away is how love survives." As months passed, I watched them grow, more patient, more aware. They stopped seeing me as someone who needed shelter. They began seeing me as someone who deserved choice, and that made all the difference. I kept my secret safe, not hidden, just quiet, because true power doesn't need to be announced, it only needs to exist.
One afternoon, I sat by my window again, the same place where the pain once settled, but now peace sat beside me instead. I wasn't unwelcome anymore, but more importantly, I was no longer afraid of being told so.
Now, when I look back on that day, the day my son said, "You're not welcome here," I no longer feel pain. I feel understanding, because sometimes people speak from fear, not from truth. Sometimes they push away what reminds them of responsibility, and sometimes they only see your value when they realize you can live without them. I learned something important during that time. Love does not mean staying where you are not respected. Motherhood does not mean losing your dignity. And silence is not weakness. It is preparation. I also learned that secrets are not always meant to hurt others. Some secrets exist to protect our peace, to give us choices, to remind us that we still have control over our own lives. I didn't use my secret to punish my son. I used it to stand straight. And when I finally did, he saw me clearly for the first time. Today, my relationship with Daniel is different. Not perfect, but honest. We talk like adults now. We listen more. We pause before we speak. And Emily, she no longer sees me as someone who might stay forever. She sees me as someone who can walk away. That respect changed everything. Sometimes, when I sit by my window in the evening, I think about all the mothers who feel invisible. Mothers who gave their youth, their strength, their sleep, their dreams, and were later told they were too much, or in the way, or not welcome. If you are listening to my story right now, please hear this. You are not a burden. You are not outdated. You are not replaceable. Your life still belongs to you. And if you ever need to step back to protect your heart, that does not make you cold. It makes you wise. I didn't lose my son that day. I found myself. And sometimes that is the beginning of everything healing again. If this story touched your heart, please take a quiet moment to like this video. It helps these stories reach others who may need comfort tonight. If you have ever felt unwanted, unheard, or pushed aside by family, share your story in the comments. Someone reading it may feel less alone because of you. And if you enjoy calm, emotional, real-life stories like this, subscribe to this channel and stay with us. New heartfelt stories are shared regularly, stories that listen, not shout. Before you go, tell me this. Have you ever walked away in silence and found strength you didn't know you had?